Tessa's height is 5'11", and in college she weighed only 125 pounds after an eating disorder took over her life. It all started in middle school when Tessa became insecure about being a bit bigger than the rest of her friends. She starved herself but quickly stopped, remaining healthy throughout her high school years. But right before college, her and a friend joined Weight Watchers. Horrified at seeing the number 169 on the scale, Tessa fell right back into the trap of anorexia.
I was horrified, basically. That number I never wanted to see ever again. And I started following the plan correctly, and the weight started coming off. I got compliments, it was fine, like I felt great, I felt just better physically, mentally. And then as the summer went on, going into freshman year, I started taking it to the extreme. I wanted more compliments. I wanted to feel better about myself. You lose 10 pounds, what happens if you lose 20? My friends starting to get concerned, like, what are you doing? You've lost enough by this point. And I had at that point, because I was at the weight that I couldn't go to Weight Watchers anymore. They wouldn't accept it, but they were just like, okay, you're good, stop. And of course I didn't, because I just got really attached to the whole lifestyle of it, the whole counting and just wanting to have a control of what I was doing. The second semester of sophomore year, I decided I was going to do a half marathon at the end of May. So I would do practice runs, go for 10 miles, come back and refuel with a Diet Coke. I was just slowly starting to isolate myself. I was really grumpy all the time. Like my poor mother, she, I was just such a bitch.
It's been a real roller coaster, and I'm not sure how to describe it. I think it was very shocking and very disturbing at first, but it took a little while for it to gel.
So I had two close friends that summer that sort of did hang on to me, even though I was just always telling them, no, I don't want to do anything. And they were also pulling away from me because they were uncomfortable with how I was starting to look and behave, and they didn't know what to say. And I understand that. It's a really tough subject to bring up to anybody because you don't know how the person's going to react. They could bite your head off or just have a meltdown. You don't know. So I do understand why they didn't want to tell me. And that weekend, they both went to York Beach in Maine, and that's somewhere that I'd always wanted to go with them because one of the girls has a house up there, like their family does. And they went, without me, essentially, and they both lied about it. I was really upset about it. It's like, what am I doing so wrong? Why are people not hanging out with me? What is so wrong with me? That day, my brother was visiting with his wife. I was talking to Russell that day, what is wrong with me? These bitches, why are they not talking to me?
I know that sometimes if Tessa's in a foul mood, then, maybe because of her eating disorder, because of things going on in her mind, she can sometimes be difficult, and sometimes she requires more patience than a casual friend might be willing to give.
Yeah, and I think it was very hurtful. I mean, some of these girls were supposed to be her good friends. Instead of ditching her when she needed them the most, they should have been there to help her and encourage her and support her.
But I mean, to take their side of it a little bit, it was not a lot of fun. I mean, it's not a lot of fun to get a pizza and make popcorn with butter and pig out, and there's somebody going, no thanks, I'll just have some water, And it's less and less fun to invite Tess because she's the person that's being so good, like taking a nun to a bar or whatever, you don't want to do that.
I missed out on, I'd say, what a college experience should be, whatever that means to you personally. I missed out on what college should offer, I think, and it's because of my own actions. And I would look at myself doing these things, saying no, staying in all the time, and I'd just be like, well, I don't care because this feels better. And two of those girls had asked me about it, like I said, at the end of summer, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. You don't know what you're talking about, because I was in denial at that point.
When Tessa first stopped eating, when she went to Weight Watchers, she was following the program. I mean, she was writing down all the stuff. You're supposed to journal your food, and she was counting her points, and then she was saving points. And I'm looking at this stuff going, what are you doing? How many points? How do you find out all this stuff? So it became points for everything. And then she lost a lot of weight, and we were like, okay, no more points, enough with this. But then she was becoming secretive about it.
That whole summer she had been living with me, she knew I was running a lot and eating not so much, but it always looked like I was eating, but it was just produce and vegetables. And she saw me getting thinner, but since she saw me every day, it wasn't a drastic change.
She looked really thin to me, but you get used to seeing somebody looking like that.
My brother really was the one that said something to my mom one day about like, what's wrong with her.
We went to the beach that day when Russell and Christine were there, and when she got up to go get a drink up at the, they sell like a little bit of food up there, and Russell said to me, what the hell is going on with her?
You can just see her change in her physique, and really that one day we went to the beach and she put on a bikini and she looked just like a skeleton.
You could see like all her backbone, her vertebrae were just like
And then so my mom addressed me later that night and said, what is going on? And it was like a dam opening. I was just like, I don't know, blah.
I guess his opinion was really what did it. I mean, somebody coming from a little bit of the outside saying to her, you don't look good. You look sick. I'm really worried about you.
My mom's been saying that for a while. It's easy to shrug off from Tessa's perspective, oh, it's just mom being motherly and being overprotective. But I feel like when she heard it from her brother, who, doesn't mess around and tells her to her straight, that she took it more seriously.
I was by no means ready physically to like start putting on weight and just be like completely throw my habits aside. But I realized at that moment how horrible that summer had been, how much time I'd wasted, how much brain capacity I'd wasted on trying to calculate every single thing that went in my mouth. I can remember actually eating like so much that night when she told me, because I was just suddenly just like, I want food, all this food I've been missing. I ate like a jar of peanut butter, like just things like that.
Her willingness, I think that was her tipping point. So she wanted to get better.
Basically told me that she ate a spoonful of peanut butter, which was one of the first things that she had done in years. I was like, holy crap, I can't believe you haven't eaten peanut butter in such a long time.
I just remember that night so clearly because I was like eating so much, and that's just, it was a big part of it. And because I was like, look, I am ready for this change. I can do this.
It's just really difficult to see someone that you love so much struggle with something that just, from an outsider's perspective, seems like something so trivial. It's like, oh, just eat the food. Just eat the food. Put the food in your mouth and eat it. What's the big problem?
Sometimes I just feel like, stop. Just stop. If I made pizza, would you have a piece? Nope. Still doesn't do that.
But I mean, over the years, you start to learn exactly what's going on inside someone who struggles from this head.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
And it's just, I feel terrible for her that she has to deal with this every single day, every single minute of every single day. Thinking about what she ate, what she's going to eat, what she's going to eat next, what she's not going to eat, how much she ate, counting calories, counting workout steps, everything. Just her mind is constantly at work.
I think it made us really aware of eating disorders in general, what to expect from somebody that has it. We all did our own reading about it.
As that year progressed in my junior year, I was still very upset all the time, but I knew what I had to do. I was starting to see a therapist. My mom made me see a therapist when I was at school.
I was scared that she was going to get to a point where she wasn't going to come back, or that she was going to do so much damage to her body that it was going to be something that in her adult life, as she gets older, she was going to have problems.
So I would look up what would happen to you if you had anorexia, and your bones would start getting brittle, you'd lose your hair, and I noticed that these things were happening, but I was just like, oh, that's weird. My hair's getting really thin. Must be summertime, it's too hot to have a lot of hair, and I'd make up these crap excuses for these things, and I would, you may have children in the future. I was just like, I don't even want kids, so whatever, I don't care about that. Your skin would get really dry and you'd probably get acne. I got that, but I've always had acne. I had an excuse for everything. Since I was never diagnosed with anorexia, because you really need to meet strict criteria, I was never I could have gotten to the weight range eventually, but I never did. So to me, since I wasn't diagnosed with it, I didn't have anything, nothing was wrong. But there's so much in between of those two things. I didn't, again, start really talking about it with anyone until I started my blog in March of 2011. And that's when I started really telling my story, telling what I feel each day, what sort of plans I make each day. And as I wrote more and more, I got people reading it, and people would comment to be like, I can still relate to this. I can't believe it's like you're saying my own thoughts. And to me, that was just like, wow, other people feel like I do. It was just nice knowing that I was not alone. And as I wrote more and more, because I really enjoy writing, I found that I never had self-confidence, and I liked the way I wrote, and that made me feel like, okay, I do have this ability to connect with people And I do have this ability to express my feelings, maybe help other people. One in particular I remember is from a mother of a daughter who had it, and she said the mom directed her daughter to my blog, and she said her daughter's gotten a lot better like because of it. And I heard that, I was just like, what? Like I didn't even plan to have that kind of influence. No intention of that, so wow.
I'm so proud of her with that blog, because here she was blogging every day, talking about how she was feeling and taking pictures, and she would talk about her feelings about her eating and her issues that she still had, or over-exercising, and it was sort of like she gave us all permission to talk about it once she put it out there.
It really helped me understand my own situations, and I would always end on some kind of note, just like, do I really want to be like this the rest of my life? Like, absolutely not.
Do you consider yourself recovered?
That is a question that I have asked myself, and I would say no. The memories are going to be there, and the tendencies to want to go back to that are going to be there. And in this disordered, twisted way, it does make me feel better. But then I start looking back at my past history and realizing that it didn't. It had the exact opposite effect. So like when I want to restrict, I now have the choice to say, well, I could have this Diet Coke for lunch, or I could have a lunch.
I think she's gotten to be, I would say, her old self, you know, because she was a really happy kid, and then she was this starving person, which was really dark, and now she's getting back there. She's happier and much more social, willing to take on tasks, like she's going to nursing school right now, and that's a lot of work, and plus she has a job. She's really worked on being able to do a lot of good, healthy things for herself.
I would hope that she would be able to make a full recovery and put this behind her and be able to go out for burgers and beers. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
I absolutely love her so much. I even love this part. It's been a real journey for her.
It's been a slow transition to living to eat, because food has been playing #1 role in my life forever. I was living to eat for so long, but I've been trying to get more to just having it be a secondary role, that I just survive on it, as opposed to just making my entire situation around it.